Welcome to the fourth session of Explore as we're looking through the story of the Bible. Now this week we're taking quite a big jump in terms of history from where we were last week. So last week we were with Abraham and the promises that God made to him. And now we're jumping forward quite a few books actually in the Old Testament through to Solomon, who was a king. If you want to find out a bit more about what happened in that, in those bits in between, do talk with your leaders and do have a little bit of discussion with them about that. Now, as we're looking this evening, I wonder if you've ever come across someone who just seems to understand you and be engaging, or just know the answers and have that wisdom that you want so badly. So maybe it might be like a grandparent or a school teacher, people that are just able to explain things, that connect with you. They just seem to make so much sense. You could feel like you could sit and listen to them for hours. They've got so much wisdom and insight. Now in the story we've just looked at from 1 Kings chapter 10 in the Bible, we've met this queen, the Queen of Sheba, and she has come with this loads of gifts and loads of splendour to the kingdom of Israel to meet one person, King Solomon. And she's come with a load of questions. She's heard that this man has loads of wisdom, and she's come to ask him, to test him. Is what people were saying about this king true? Is he this amazing person? Now, King Solomon, the person we meet, is the king of this nation, Israel. He's also a descendant of Abraham. So if we were remembering last week, we'd heard that there were these promises that were going to come true to one of Abraham's descendants. So whilst we're looking at this story, we may be thinking, is Solomon the one we've been waiting for? And so the Queen of Sheba goes off to meet this king, this incredible king. And I wonder if you notice what happened in the story. So when the queen got there, she was not disappointed. Nothing was too hard for King Solomon to explain to her. Now, I've been part of a book group in the past, and in that book group we were trying to read through some pretty clever books. Now I'm not the smartest guy, and what would normally happen is I would read these books, have absolutely no idea what was happening, and then go to this book group, and it would be an hour long, and I would basically sit there for 1 hour hearing these clever people explain this book to me. And sometimes it was amazing that they could take what seemed like such complicated things and explain them in such a simple manner. So after however many hours of reading, I would have no idea what was going on. But after just 1 hour with these people, I would suddenly know what this story was about, this book was about. It's amazing when people can explain complicated things to you and you can understand them. Now, when the Queen of Sheba arrived, she came to Solomon and she wanted to ask him questions. She wanted to talk to him to understand wisdom. And she asked him questions that, he was able to answer. This was before we had Google or any search engine like that. It's before we had the internet. He just knew them. And we don't have a record of the questions that she asked him, but we can maybe imagine. She asked Solomon, okay, what is love really? Or maybe slightly more complicated questions like, why do bad things happen to good people? Or maybe, asking this king, who is God, or what is God? And Solomon, this king, could answer. And so at this point in the story, we're thinking, wow, this king seems to be pretty good. Is this the person that we've been waiting for? Is this the promised one who is to come? And another thing you notice in this story, we see this amazing king. We also see he has an amazing kingdom. So just outside Oxford, there's a palace called Blenheim Palace. It's one of the biggest houses in the UK. It's now open to the public, and it's extravagant. It's really extravagant. It's a sign of wealth and prosperity, and one of the most extravagant things that they have in this palace is a golden toilet, like a solid gold toilet. And if anything says extravagance or decadence or wealth, surely it's a golden toilet. I mean, you don't need to have a golden toilet. And so just the fact that they have one is a sign of wealth and prosperity and abundance. It was actually, I think someone tried to steal it, or it was stolen a few years ago. I don't really know why you'd want to. But this toilet was a statement. It's a statement of extravagance, having a golden toilet. Now, in this chapter of the Bible, in 1 Kings 10, we get a tour around Solomon's kingdom, the kingdom of Israel at the time, and we notice that it's extravagant. It's beautiful. There's like an abundance of wealth and prosperity in this city. And can you imagine being a citizen in that city? Luxurious, extravagant, beautiful, the food, the wine, the beauty that's around. Because the extravagance of this king seemed to be flowing out into the city. When the queen was commenting on it, she said, "How happy your people must be," when she was walking around this city. How blessed is everyone in this kingdom. And when we see these two things, we see Abraham's offspring, Abraham's descendant, seemingly this amazing person in this amazing place. We're thinking, is this the one? The one who's come to reverse the curse? This kingdom looks so blessed. Is this the one? Well, you just have to read on in the story and you realise Solomon, like so many before him who have promised so much, but ultimately, like the very first people, Adam and Eve, like every human really, has turned from God. So as you read on in the story, just the very next chapter, we see that Solomon, with all his wisdom and his splendour, he treated women badly. So we read that he had 300 wives and 700 other women who he sort of treated as his property and collected. We read that his heart had turned away from God. It was divided. So we have this picture in 1 Kings 10 of almost the best that we can achieve as humanity, a king who's wise, this amazing kingdom. But the problem, it's still there. A heart that is divided and set against God. You see, the problem is if you give a human all that power, all that responsibility, all that abundance, what do we use it for? We can't be perfect. We're broken. We see it in the mistreatment of women and Solomon's heart turning away from God. So at this point in the story, we've sort of gone through a lot of the Old Testament. We're still waiting. And we're still asking those questions. Who is the one who will come to reverse this curse? Because it now seems like it's a humanly impossible job. Now that's all I'm going to say for this evening. So it's over to you for discussion in your groups.